the obvious thing to start with is it's been 4 years since you put an album out, and your fans have been rabidly waiting for a new one. What took you guys so long to put this album out?
Let's see. Well, we toured a long time on Parade. That was like
that was like 2.5 years.
It was a brutal tour. Amazing tour. Record did great. Kept us out there. We just kind of didn't know when to say no. Because we just loved playing for people. Then we're getting these offers to play in Southeast Asia, South America, and we just kept going and going and going until there was just nothing left, and ended with MSG. But then I think, we were just burnt by then. So that wasn't maybe the victory lap, or it was a dream realized for sure, but it wasn't maybe the victory lap inside. Didn't feel like one that we'd hoped, I wasn't sure if we were ever going to do it again.
We're all pretty frazzled, touring on Black Parade was just, it was just an endless schedule, and just being like, it was like being in a cocoon, being like going from the bus to the venue to the airport to the bus to the venue to the airport, and it became like, you just became
like a vicious
a
cycle.
shell,
So so that was 2.5 years. We took a few months break, and then probably February of 2009 we started working on the first attempt at the record.
Right.
Got to the end of 2009 and kind of realized we weren't completely fulfilled. And at the beginning of this year, we got together in the studio with Rob Cavallo, and here we are now with Danger Days. So that's kind of the 4 years.
That's where they all went. It's kind of crazy because it's a long time.
It is in today's day and age.
Of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was it about the first attempt that you didn't like that made you want to redo things?
Well, there's a lot of rules set forth right away. I think it was a reaction to, in a weird way, not wanting to go through some of the things maybe we'd gone through on Black Parade. Maybe some of the hard stuff, the misinterpretation, the kids getting hurt, kind of like these hate crimes things happening and stuff like that. It was like it's like, all right, let's not make something that makes noise again, because when we do that, bad stuff happens.
But it's not your fault. I mean,
of course. Yeah, but it takes a while to realize that, and it still bothers you. Not, people could say whatever they want about us, but it bothers you when they say something about kids and they paint a target on them, So it was weird. It was like, we don't want to rock the boat. So we made a very safe kind of rock record, almost using it as armor. Like, oh, look how, tough and rock we can be, and straight and 30-something we could be, and then we rebelled against that, and we said, "F it, we're gonna make a louder noise than we've ever made. We're gonna use color. We're gonna, infiltrate, contaminate, polarize. Let's do it, And so, that's that. We kind of came full circle because of that, but.
Actually, the whole album has a different feel, and the imagery, the videos and stuff that go with it, like, because you say color makes me think of that. There's a lot less darkness to this record. It seems a lot more celebratory.
It is.
How'd that come about?
I think it just felt great to be on fire in the studio. It felt great to get it back and take ownership over it.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Like, the year prior, we were kind of in a creative stasis, when it was really hard to write songs. You didn't know if you had it anymore, And, the start of this year, we wrote Na Na Na, and from that, 3 more songs came very quickly, and it felt like we got the band back. We got our, we felt alive again. And, that's what you're hearing on the record. You're hearing a band, like, reborn, and that, that's what you hear. That's that excitement.
I always thought the title track to Black Parade was a pretty happy song, though. Just so you know, they played a lot in my workout class, and it's a really good song to run to, because the slow part at the beginning is like the warm-up, and then by the end you're like sprinting.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's a good song, and I also sing in karaoke a lot. So.
Oh, right on.
Oh, nice.
Do you think you've sort of been misrepresented as being like a super dark band?
Yeah. Well, we did make the Black Parade 2 be challenging. Like, the theory at the time was there is hope on this record. It is a positive record, but to get to it, you got to go through, just like in life, you got to go through a lot of really dark stuff to get to that hope. So there's these slivers of it on the record, but again, they're hard to get to. So I think we've been misrepresented as an extremely dark band, but we use, dark imagery. We've used it to great effect. So that was part of like the mythology, was this kind of dark, mysterious, dark energy, And so, there's a lot of reasons I'm sure we get misrepresented as that. When in fact, I think when you'd see us live, it almost felt more like, had more of a garage energy, and it felt more dirty. It's the best. It's sexier live than it is evil. You know, I never thought of us as an evil band. So I guess I guess it felt like, all right, let's really be ourselves. Let's do what we want this time.
So you feel that this record maybe is more representative of how you are live, or is it a progression from the little bits of hope from the last record? Is it some kind of sequel to that?
I feel like it's, in some ways, like The Only Hope for Me Is You feels akin to The Way Parade Ends. It feels like there's some connection there. Oddly, Bulletproof Heart reminds me of Black Parade in some weird ways. It's like expanding that hope. It's taking the hope. It's like less about the individual making it now. It's more directed at the audience. It's more about you, and less me, and that's good too. I like that, and but it's transferring. It's making the hope larger, but it's also having a lot of fun, and it's not trying to change the world by talking about that.
Yeah, a lot of people have been telling us, like, just from listening to it, that they can tell we were just having a lot of fun while we were recording it. So that's cool because we were, It's just, it was just a blast every day.
So you really at one time considered not moving on, like just calling it quits?
I don't think the words ever came out of anybody's mouths, but it definitely, I often wondered where the energy was going to come to do it. And we had fallen into, I wouldn't say, like, we got comfortable, but we got happy. Like, I mean, I was really psyched, like, we would talk to each other all the time. We'd be working on music, but I was really happy with Lindsay.
Being home, yeah.
Being home.
Definitely got comfortable, yeah.
Yeah, it was nice to be home because we weren't home. We didn't have a semblance of a life. So when you got one, you didn't want to let go of it, And you're like, but we figured out how to make it work. And, we always came back to it, though, because we knew it's our art. It's what we do. It's what we're great at. We have to, like, it felt like the world needed us to do something,
I don't like to necessarily use the term concept album,
Sure.
but that does get used when describing your music. Is there an overlying concept to this album?
It's like a high concept, because originally the rules were abandoned concept, no such thing, won't exist this time. But we found as we were making it, it was dictated by what was being created. So it's the high concept of a transmission from 2019 via pirate radio station against a corporate utopian city, and that's kind of the high concept. But there's no story, there's no character, so I wouldn't call it a concept record. I think it's got some set dressing. I think it's got a short film attached to it that may or may not make sense.
It's weird because 2019 sounds so futuristic, but it's actually not really very far away.
I know, which is why I like that date.
It'll be here before we know it, probably.
Yeah.
Will you do something big in the year 2019, like some big album version live of this? You should.
That would actually be
I
pretty
thought,
amazing.
yeah.
Wait, it's 2010?
No, it's going to be 2011.
Wow.
Yeah,
Where did
2011 coming
2010
up.
go? Holy crap.
Gone.
Wow.
It's gone.
We definitely lost a couple years.
So explain the title. It's a long one. Danger
Yeah.
Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
Well, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys refers to, like, I guess, any of, like, the visual conceptual themes. That's to kind of make the listener aware that it is a larger world we're at least living in, and that there are characters, but the characters are us. To you, it's all the artists we meet. That's what I think of when I think of the Fabulous Killjoys. It's just like all our friends and us. And but Danger Days refers to what it kind of takes to go and make that record every time, And we had a moment where we realized we were 4 songs deep and re-recording this thing. And I just said to Mikey when we were leaving this meeting with Rob, Danger Days, Here We Come Again, which is, that's, it made sense to anybody in the room at the time, I think. So then it kind of, Rob Cavallo brought it up.
Yeah, it was like,
months later.
after we finished, I think we mixed the last song, went out for dinner, and we were just sitting around talking, and it was like, we need a name for this record.
Well, yeah.
And I think it was Rob who said, it's Danger Days. It's
Yeah.
always been Danger Days.
It's always been Danger Days.
You mentioned sort of, you alluded to the idea of a film. Have you guys ever, it seems like it'd be natural for you to do a musical or a film or some kind of conceptual project that goes beyond just making records? Because
Right.
your videos in themselves, especially for this album, are sort of like that.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing something like that?
This time more than ever,
Yeah.
probably. Like, I think since there's no rules making the record, there feels like a lot less rules creatively. I'd definitely be into it especially if it was like one of those super weird rock and roll movies, like one of those strange ones that kind of don't make sense, and like people, maybe not a lot of people went and saw it in a theater, but people like talk about it 10 years from now and 20 years from now. If it was one of those things that was like, I don't know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Yeah, Totally
Like the
see it
monkey's
happening.
head or something?
Yeah, like Head or
Classic.
something like that. Yeah,
I could see that.
yeah.
So I mentioned how you've been away for so long, and that is a risk. Tell me about the fact that you have this fan base that you could go away for, a pretty good chunk of time, and they're right there waiting.
Yeah, it was so wild.
Yeah,
When we went to Europe and we played a bunch of shows, there was kids sleeping outside like multiple days before we got there. There were other shows at the venues, and these kids were sleeping in front of, like multiple days before we even got there. And it was just like, wow. It's just, it's really awesome.
And maybe it's like naive too, but I never had a doubt. But I only because I feel like I felt like we were going to do something great. And I feel like, if we did something great, it didn't matter how many years it took, as long as it didn't take 20.
It wasn't Chinese democracy.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't going to take that long, and we kept talking about it, because we wouldn't announce any titles, and we pulled the plug on it. We were very honest. That too, we were so honest every step of the way through. We said, yeah, we scrapped, we started over. This is what's happening, I think that honesty, I think the fans really respected the honesty.
And how is, obviously, I'm sure they're loving it, but how has been the reception to the music they've heard so far?
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say reaction, when we play a song, Planetary Go, that's just
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's
Like, the
unbelievable.
kids knew right away what to do without ever having heard that song before. Same thing with Nana. It's been out for a little while, but it goes over just as good as, like, Black Parade and Helena and Not Okay. I think the fans do know that we did the right thing, and they respect that, and they hear it, and they love it, yeah.
Cool. Last question I'm going to ask you. It may be just rumor or misquoting, but there have been these rumors going around that this is your last album,
Yeah.
or
No.
that your last hurrah. That maybe
Right.
this time you're
Where
really.
was it from, actually? I don't even...
Not
from what you said,
Yeah,
but
no.
where was
Apparently,
it
it's from
printed, or-
it's apparently from the Sunday Times in London. But they had taken this quote, which was a longer quote,
Yeah.
which said, we approached this record like, this could be our last adventure, so let's go all in.
Right,
This is
right.
let's go on a last big adventure together, and chopped it up, turned it into this thing where it was like,
This is our
this
last
is our
adventure.
this is like
Yeah.
we're gonna break up after this. which
That's
is
always
so-
fun. Like,
Yeah,
when that's a big thing. It's nice actually to do stuff on camera because it's a little harder to chop things.
Yeah.
But that's like print. They love to do that.
They love to do it. And then, then NME picked it up, and it was just like, and I found myself within the span of, we were in Europe, with the span of 18 hours or something, I had already talked about it 5 times. To the
Yeah.
point, by the time I had gotten to the BBC,
Yeah.
I said, I'm actually no longer going to dignify, clarify anything.
Well, I'm sorry, I asked.
Oh,
but
no.
You
No.
aren't breaking up.
No, we're not breaking
Just
it
to
up.
just to
clarify.
clarify, we're not. We're not.
Because so much about this, the only reason I actually eventually clarified it is for the fans, because so much about this record is about not clarifying or dignifying or clearing up or apologizing. Like, to me, even press is a means to an end, and I mean that in the best possible way. Did the record, didn't want to really talk about it, still don't really want to talk about it. When it's a good interview, I like talking about it, but I'm already wanting to do the next thing or shoot the next video or go on the next adventure. So, but like so much about this record is about not paying attention to the reaction to it. Like, I don't read the press. I don't read the reviews. I have to ask people occasionally, like, hey, how's that doing? Do people really like that video? Or because that's how much I've cut myself off from it. It's really about being so pure with it, you just throw it out in the universe, and then you step away from it. You just run.
Yeah, if you read, if you read all that stuff, it'll just drive you insane. So you have to distance yourself as much as possible.
Understood. Before the record, people are liking it. Because I've been reading your press, and people are liking it. So,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you very
And,
much.
thank you so much for the interview. and
Yeah,
good luck.
It was
Thank you.
awesome.